Hello everybody, my name is Thomas Zorn. I'm today here to talk about the Passat GP, so the facelift model year 2016 Passat, which was recently crashed by IIHS and did get a top safety pick plus for 2016. The car was tested recently under the new program of IIHS. That means they've increased the requirements for the top safety pick plus, which actually included that we have to have a good rating in the small overlap test, which was before that just an acceptable rating, and we have to have at least superior or advanced rating in the crash avoidance program by IIHS. So in order to get a top safety pick plus, you have to achieve a good rating in their 5 crash categories. So the first one is a front crash that involves 40% of the car width. So you crash the car into a barrier, 40% offset is here, and you have to achieve a good rating. So the second test would be a roof crush test, which simulates a rollover, and the roof has to withstand a certain force, and that force is the 4 times of the weight to force ratio, and this car actually achieved a 6.2 ratio, so it's very stiff in the roof area. The third crash would be a rear impact crash where IIHS evaluates the performance of the head restraints. Then we have a side impact crash where a SUV-like barrier hits the side of the vehicle. And the latest, a new crash test, which was introduced to the top safety pick program in 2012, is the small overlap crash test, and this is the car that we do see here. So the small overlap test is very challenging because only 25% of the vehicle width is involved in the crash, so we have to absorb the energy, not as we usually do with the main frame rail. We have to absorb the energy with the A-pillar and the roof and the sill area, so the passenger compartment has to be very stiff in order to absorb the energy. And so we've done that by adding high-strength steel pieces into the passenger compartment, so you can see the energy is absorbed in that area, and the footwell, so where the passenger is sitting, is almost intact. So there's only minor deformation in that area. So besides the crash worthiness rating, the car has to perform well also in a crash prevention rating that IIHS set up. So we do have the automatic post-collision brake in our vehicle because in 25% of all collisions, second collision occurs, and in order to avoid that second collision, which can be even worse than the first collision, we did put in the system in order to avoid that the second collision even happens. The autonomous emergency braking system, or we call it front assist, is based on a radar sensor that does detect vehicle speeds, so your own vehicle speed and vehicles in front of you, and if the algorithm determines that there is a crash imminent, it warns the driver so that the driver either can brake, or in cases where the driver doesn't react, the car brakes by itself. If the driver reacts, and in many cases drivers are not braking hard enough, the car supports the driver by giving brake pressure. So the Passat is joining a couple of more vehicles in our brand that did get a top safety pick plus. So we have the Golf and the Sport Wagon, which is one top safety pick. We have the GTI and we have the Jetta, and now the Passat is the 4th vehicle for Volkswagen that has a top safety pick plus, which is a very good achievement. So if you want to know more about details, how the car performed, please go on IIHS's website. It is www.iihs.org, and you will find movies, pictures, and all the data you might want to know.